This video is to show you how to use the TI-84 calculator to solve or graph systems of linear inequalities in section 9.6. First, let us look at what a linear inequality is. A linear inequality is a line that uses one of four different inequality signs to replace the equal signs. In this example, the standard form of a line has a less than or equal to sign replacing the equal sign. The other three options are the greater than or equal to sign, the less than sign, or the greater than sign. What a linear inequality does is to divide the xy coordinate plane into two halves with the line as the dividing line or boundary line. One half of the graph is selected as our solution set, and the other half is not a part of our solution set. The line itself may or may not be in our solution set. If we have either the less than or equal to or greater than equal to signs in our inequality, then this is a non-strict inequality and the line is part of our solution set, which is represented by a solid line. If we have either the less than or greater than signs in our inequality, then this is a strict inequality and the line is not part of our solution set, which is represented by a dotted or a dashed line. The next item that needs to be discussed is that this linear inequality is in standard form. But no matter what form the linear inequality is in, it must be transformed into slope-intercept form. That is, it must be solved for y. Whether we call it the slope-intercept form, the y equals form, or the functional notation form, this is the only form in which the TI-84 can graph linear functions or linear inequalities, or any other type of function or its graph. In addition, once the linear equality is written in slope-intercept form, if the greater than or equal to symbol is used, this indicates to shade above the line or shade the upper half of the plane. If the less than or equal to symbol is used, this indicates to shade below the line or show the lower half of the plane. Either way, it is critical that the linear inequality be in slope-intercept form before any steps on the TI-84 calculator are to be performed. Before we begin, I have prepared a little demonstration for you. I am pressing y equals. Notice there are different color options. There are 15 different color choices for lines, of which I will show you 8. I will show you how to adjust the colors of your graphs later. There are 8 options for graphing lines. The first option is a solid line. The second option is a thinner solid line. The third option is for a dotted line. The fourth option is for the thickest solid line. The fifth option is for a circle that will trace the line of your graph but not leave a line behind it. The sixth option is for a circle that will trace the line of your graph and leave a line behind it. The seventh option is the shade below the line option. This eighth option is the shade above the line option. Please know that you can only select one of these options at a time on the TI-84 calculator. I will now press graph to demonstrate these options for you. Notice the types of the lines. Look particularly at the dotted line. It is not going to be much of help to us. It pretty much looks like just a thinner line. If you look close, you will see the dots. I don't recommend using it for this section. I will explain why in greater detail later when we graph our first example using the TI-84 calculator. To clear everything, press second mem, select 7 reset, select number 1 all RAM, select number 2 reset, press second quit. Now let's look at our first example. It is in standard form and must be solved for y. Since y is on the left-hand side of the linear inequality, we need to move the 5x away from it. So we add 5x to both sides of the inequality sign to cancel the negative 5x on the left-hand side of the inequality. Then, since there is a 4y, we must divide both sides of the linear inequality by 4 to isolate the y term. This gives us the linear inequality in slope-intercept form. To graph the linear inequality on the TI-84 calculator, press y equals. Press alpha, y equals number 1. Type in 5 and press the down arrow. Type in 4 and press the right arrow. Press the X key. Press the plus key and type in 5. Press the left arrow 10 times. Press enter. This is where you may choose the color of your lines for your graph on the TI-84 calculator. First, you may select a different color if you want one. There are default colors for each of the y equals options. Blue is the default color for the y1 equals. Press either the left or right arrows to select another color. When you have the color you want, press enter. Next, you will need to use the left or right arrows to select the type of line that you want to use. We have two types of lines that could help us with our current graph: the dotted line or the shade above line. Unfortunately, the TI-84 calculator cannot do both at the same time. We must make a choice of which one we want to use. I would recommend using the shade above option. It gives us the most information to help us with our understanding of this inequality. In addition, we can use either the shade above or the shade below options on all linear inequality problems, but the dotted line can only be used about half the time when we have one of the two strict inequalities of less than or greater than. In addition, as noted earlier, the dotted line looks like a very thin line. The dotted line option is of little use to us here. Let's choose the shade above option. It will give us the most information. Now, once the linear inequality is in slope-intercept form, if we have a greater than or equal to or a greater than sign, we must use the shade above option. If we have a less than or equal to or a less than sign, we must use the shade below option. Since we have a greater than sign, press the right arrow once to select the shade above options. But you may press the left or right arrow as many times as you want to select any line option that you might need. Press enter twice when you're ready to exit the line option menu. Press graph to show the graph of the linear inequality. This graph will give you a solid line, but you will need to remember to use a dotted line and not a solid line when you input your answer. Press zoom 5, Z square, to square your graph to make it look more like the graph shown on the PowerPoint. Now let's discuss a system of equations with multiple linear inequalities. On this slide, two linear inequalities are shown. We will do exactly what we did for one linear inequality, only we will do it for both inequalities shown here. The solution set will be the quarter of the graph where both of the linear inequalities are true or shaded at the same time. Now let's look at our second example. Both are in standard form and both must be solved for y. For the linear inequality on the left, the y is on the left-hand side of the linear inequality. We need to move the x away from it. So we subtract x from both sides of the linear inequality to cancel the x on the left-hand side of the linear inequality. Then, since there is a negative 4y, we must divide both sides of the linear equality by negative 4 to isolate the y term. Remember, when you divide an inequality problem by a negative number, you must flip the inequality sign. This is why I said earlier that you need to change a linear inequality into slope-intercept form before you select the shade above or shade below options. Sometimes the inequality sign will flip in a linear inequality as it is converted into slope-intercept form. This gives us the linear inequality in slope-intercept form. For the linear inequality on the right, the y is on the left-hand side of the linear inequality. We need to move the 4x away from it. So we subtract 4x from both sides of the linear inequality to cancel the 4x on the left-hand side of the inequality sign. Since there is a y by itself, we have successfully isolated the y term, and this gives us the linear inequality in slope-intercept form. To graph this system of linear inequalities on the TI-84 calculator, press y equals. Press clear twice to reset the y1 to its default state. Pressing clear once will reset only the right-hand side of the equal sign. Pressing clear twice resets the whole line. Press alpha, y equals number 1. Type in 1 and press the down arrow. Type in 4 and press the right arrow. Press the X key. Press the subtraction key and type in 2. Press the left arrow 10 times. Press enter to bring up the line option menu. Press enter once. I'm going to keep the default color, but change yours if you want to change to another color. Press the right arrow twice to select the shade below option, since we have a less than sign. Press enter twice when you're ready to exit the line option menu. Press the down arrow. Press enter to go into the Y2 equals line option menu. Press enter if you want to keep the same color. Press the right arrow once to select the shade above option, since we have a greater than or equal to sign. Press enter twice. Press the right arrow twice to go to the Y2 line to input your second linear inequality. Type in negative 4 and press the X key. Press the plus key and type in 2. Press graph to show the graphs of the linear inequalities. Press zoom 5 Z square to square our graph to make it look more like the answer shown in the PowerPoint. Our solution set is the part of the graph which is shaded in both the blue and red regions on the TI-84 calculator and shaded in yellow on the PowerPoint. This concludes this video. We're done. Have a nice day.